Hey everyone, welcome back to the Turing Test Podcast, episode 46. Today, we're diving into a topic that's kind of driving everyone nuts, pun intended, AI in transportation, specifically self-driving cars and the future of mobility. I'm Jamie, your host, and with me is Rachel, who thinks she knows everything about cars.
Oh, please, Jamie. Just because you can barely parallel park doesn't mean you get to mock my expertise. But seriously, self-driving cars are like such a big deal right now. I mean, they're not just about getting from point A to B anymore, right?
Yeah, totally. But, it's funny how self-driving car companies aren't really shouting about AI from the rooftops like everyone else. I mean, every other industry is like, hey, look at us. We're using AI. But these guys, not so much.
Well, it's not like they don't want to. It's more about the whole regulatory thing. They're kind of stuck in this closed community, trying to convince regulators that their tech is safe. It's not exactly a walk in the park.
Right. And speaking of safety, remember that whole Cruise incident? They had to recall a bunch of cars because of some hard braking issue. I mean, that's got to be a nightmare for them, right?
Oh, absolutely. But, it's not just about the tech. It's about public trust, too. Waymo's been doing a pretty good job at that, expanding and all. But then you've got generative AI stirring up all sorts of debates, making people skeptical about AI in general.
Yeah, generative AI is like the Wild West right now. It's causing all these new problems, deepfakes, scams, you name it. And self-driving cars are just trying to, keep their heads down and not get caught in the crossfire.
Exactly. It's like they're trying to make driving safer, while generative AI is sometimes making things more dangerous. It's a weird contrast, don't you think?
For sure. And speaking of contrasts, let's talk about how different AI applications have different impacts. I mean, self-driving cars are one thing, but AI in other areas can be totally different.
Yeah, it's fascinating. But before we get too deep into that, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Jamie, take it away.
Oh, right. So before we continue, just a quick shout out to Augmented AI, the producer of the Turing Test Podcast. They host a variety of cutting-edge courses in generative AI, large language models, edge AI, robotics, and computer vision. You can get a free generative AI course at bit.ly/Turing Test Podcast or go to www.augmentedstartups.com. Check it out.
Thanks, Jamie. Now, back to our heated debate. So, do you think self-driving cars are really the future of mobility, or are we just dreaming too big here?
Well, I mean, they are the future, but it's going to take time. The tech is there, but the regulations and public perception are kind of lagging behind. It's like we have the potential, but we're not quite ready to fully embrace it yet.
Yeah, I get that. But what about the ethical implications? I mean, who gets to decide how these cars make life and death decisions? That's a pretty big deal, right?
Oh, totally. It's like, do we trust machines to make those calls? And what about accountability? If something goes wrong, who's to blame? The manufacturer, the software developer. It's a mess.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the economic impact. I mean, what happens to all the jobs that rely on driving? Are we ready to deal with that kind of disruption?
Yeah, that's a tough one. But on the flip side, self-driving cars could create new jobs too, like in tech and maintenance. It's not all doom and gloom,
True. But we need to be prepared for those changes. It's not just about the technology. It's about society adapting to it.
Right. And speaking of adapting, did you hear about GM cutting 1,000 software jobs to focus on AI and their Super Cruise system? It's like they're doubling down on this tech.
Yeah, I saw that. It's a bold move, but it shows how serious they are about AI in transportation. They're betting big on it.
For sure. And it's not just GM. Other companies are making similar moves, trying to stay ahead in the AI race. It's kind of exciting to see where this all goes.
Definitely. But we can't ignore the challenges. How do we ensure these systems are secure from cyber threats? That's a huge concern.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the last thing we want is someone hacking into a self-driving car. It's a scary thought.
Yeah. And with all the data these cars collect, there's also the issue of privacy. How do we protect people's information while still advancing the technology?
That's a tough one. But I think with the right regulations and safeguards, we can find a balance. It's just going to take time and effort.
Agreed. So, what's your take on the timeline for self-driving cars becoming mainstream? Are we talking 5 years? 10 years?
I'd say maybe 10 years. The tech is advancing fast, but the regulatory and societal hurdles are going to take a while to overcome.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it's exciting to think about what the future holds. I mean, imagine a world where we don't have to worry about traffic jams or parking.
Yeah, that would be amazing. But until then, we'll just have to keep debating and discussing the possibilities.
Absolutely. And speaking of possibilities, don't forget to check out Augmented AI University to upgrade your skills and become an AI expert fast. Go to bit.ly/Turing Test Podcast to enroll in your free cutting-edge AI course at augmentedstartups.com. See you next time.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Catch you on the next episode of the Turing Test Podcast. Bye for now.